A bill that would give parents and educators the final say on promoting students who fail Oklahoma's third grade reading test has advanced to the governor. Supporters argue the measure reinforces local and parental control of children's education. Opponents contend the bill is a return to social promotions, condemning low-achieving students to falling farther behind their peers.
When the Reading Sufficiency Act was passed 3 years ago, it was promoted as a significant step in curbing Oklahoma's nearly 30% illiteracy rate. Last week, the State Department of Education released the results of the Oklahoma Core Curriculum Test, and the numbers were sobering. Nearly 8,000 students scored unsatisfactory, including almost 33% of students in the Tulsa School District and nearly 29% of students in the Oklahoma City District. Despite those numbers, State Superintendent of Public Instruction Janet Barisi insists Oklahoma has been moving in the right direction.
Teachers have just done a marvelous, marvelous job over the last 3 years in working with these children. And the fact that we have the numbers we do, actually I think reflects the amount of work that they have done. Nearly 80% of our kids are going to be moving forward.
Under the current law, students who fail the reading test will have to repeat the third grade unless they qualify for one of 6 good cause exemptions, such as limited English proficiency or learning disabilities which require individual education plans.
And with those exemptions, there's a lot of gray area. So, if you think that you fall within one of those, you might actually not.
State Representative Katie Hinkey is the author of House Bill 2625, which would let parents and educators decide whether to retain those students. Under Hinkey's bill, students who scored below satisfactory on the test could still be promoted with the unanimous recommendation of the student's parents or guardians, the reading teacher for the past year, the reading teacher for the following grade level, the school's principal, and a certified reading specialist.
Leading a decision like this up to a score on a test is not in the best interests of Oklahoma's children. We need to look at the whole child, and we need to consult the people that work with them day in and day out.
State Representative Mike Reynolds called Hinkey's bill unnecessary, saying students who fail the reading test should be retained.
Because you're far more likely to learn how to read with people that are at the same level as you than you are likely to learn to read with people that are a level above you. That's the plan. We don't need to do anything more than that for these 8,000 students.
Barisi made the Reading Sufficiency Act a key element of her first election campaign. She maintains the House bill would undermine efforts to improve Oklahoma's literacy rates.
It's purported to be one thing, but it actually is a return to social promotion of schools. We're back to where we were 17 years ago, no better. As a matter of fact, a parent committee was in the original version of the bill 17 years ago that was introduced, and it was found to be ineffective. There's nothing that has changed since that time. This is smoke and mirrors.
Hinkey disagreed, telling supporters she wants to make sure Oklahoma students can read.
But who knows them better, a state agency or their parents and teachers? And we need to have that local team that understands their individual needs, making those decisions, and in no way is that weakening this bill.
Barisi also questioned whether the measure would increase costs for districts by forcing them to hire a reading specialist.
Plus, the amount of time that's going to have to be spent with these children to catch them up is, for a child that scored unsatisfactory, is right under 5 hours a day. Those teachers are going to be focused on reading instruction during that period of time with those children. I'm kind of curious about how they're going to handle the rest of their coursework with their children.
State Representative Jason Nelson argued against the measure on the House floor, claiming it would hurt students who aren't reading at grade level.
We're not doing anybody a favor. We're not being compassionate. To me, I think it's the opposite of compassion to expect the kid to go on into 4th grade and do 4th grade work reading at a 1st grade or a 2nd grade level, which is exactly what will be allowed to have happen here without meeting one of the good cause exemptions.
House Minority Leader Scott Inman countered that Oklahoma's childhood illiteracy rates won't be solved by keeping students from being promoted.
The problem that exists today, and the reason there are 3rd graders in Oklahoma who cannot read, is because we have 3rd graders who go home every day and worry about whether mom or dad will show up with food to eat. And the 3rd grade reading law did nothing to solve that problem.
Eric Thompson is the parent of a third grader who found out Monday she was one of those who scored unsatisfactory on the reading test. Thompson says keeping his daughter in the third grade won't help her learn.
The problem is that I think no matter how hard we push her, if she were to do third grade again, she would become more proficient with third grades, but she's always going to have a problem adapting to new concepts that might be presented to her, and she's going to be slower. It doesn't benefit her to go back and do third grade again.
Which is why Thompson hopes the bill becomes law.
There should be something that's available to us, and that's having a parent's voice and having the school that knows these children available, and that's why I'm very glad that this bill passed, and I hope the governor also will sign it into law.
Governor Mary Fallin has expressed concerns about the measure and hinted at a possible veto. State Representative Eric Proctor told Hinkie if that happens, she could count on support from House Democrats to override the veto.
Are you aware that if the governor vetoes this bill, which I think is a very much a possibility, that our side of the aisle will stand united with any member of your caucus and with you to make this a law, notwithstanding her veto?
Superintendent Barisi said she intended to meet with Governor Fallin and outline her objections to the bill.